Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Security Repo Podcast. We're always happy to have you with us on this journey as we're learning all about the greater world of security and covering a broad series of topics. We would love for you to share this with your friends and family and anybody else you think might be interested in security. You can help us out a lot as a channel by hitting that like button and subscribing. It does actually go a long way in helping us get through the algorithm and getting this message out to the larger audience. This week we have a really special guest, Sankalp Kumar. He's got over 7 years of experience working in the industries with giants like McAfee, Juniper, and Fraunhofer. He's consistently been at the forefront of security innovation and has expertise in building software systems that do intrusion detection, and he was one of the lead engineers in building McAfee's IPS. Today, Sankalp leads efforts for scaling, improving network software stacks, and securing software systems. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dwayne, for the introduction. Looking forward to this talk.
It's great to have you. We met briefly back at B-Sides San Diego. Now, at that time, very busy. I think we met each other in passing, maybe at the party. But then you reached out to me to be on the show, and very, very happy to have you because I didn't get a chance to see your talk there. And the fact that I can interview you about it, I think it's a win-win for everybody. So thanks very much for being here. How was that event for you? How did you enjoy B-Sides San Diego?
Oh, well, it was a fun event. And I got to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is at the intersection of AI and security, deepfakes. So it was an interesting topic to talk about, and the audience reception was really good. So I'm hoping to talk about the same things here.
All right, well, let's just jump into it then. I mean, we're always going to encourage everybody to go out and be part of their community. And B-Sides is an awesome series of conferences. If you're listening to this pretty much anywhere in the world, there probably is a B-Side happening somewhere near you. So check that out. Just like Google B-Sides in your area or just B-Sides, the organization. You'll find great content, great people, and security-minded folks that want to solve this security challenge together with you. So we really encourage you to seek out those communities so we can have these broader conversations in person, because podcasts are great and all, sessions are great and all, but those in-person conversations, that's where we really get a lot done. But having said that, let's dig into what you had talked about in San Diego, and that is deepfake. So let's just start super high level. What's your definition on that?
Basically, fakes have existed for a long time, and you had people using Photoshop to basically change faces, and these were still distinguishable if you would use analysis. But with deepfakes, the idea is to create a fake which cannot be distinguished, and it's basically being powered by the development of attention layers in transformers. And what happens in the attention layer is, for example, if the input is my name is Sankalp, then it will be able to focus on name and Sankalp. So it's able to focus on the most important aspect of your input. And when you apply that to a person's face, what happens is the model is able to focus particularly on their eyes, nose, how far the nose is from their face. So all these important aspects now the model is able to capture. And it's able to create a much more realistic images, deepfake images. And then they use GAN to further perfect it. So it becomes particularly indistinguishable to most people. And that has resulted into a large number of scams now. So that's what exactly deepfake is.
So a couple things I want to dig into there.
Mm-hmm.
Say it's a transformer model. Not everybody's super well versed in AI out there, so maybe you could dig into that just a little bit. And you said they're using GANs to improve it. Is that the term you use? So
Yes.
maybe we could just define that one real quick before we step back to transformers.
Sure, sounds good. So the idea of transformer is that there are two models in it. One's job is to encode it. So you give it an image, and what happens is it encodes into a latent state. You can imagine latent state to be a small representation in numbers form, a vector maybe, and it represents your actual face. So the entire face gets converted into that latent image, and the decoder learns to convert that encoded state back to its normal image. Okay. Now you take two of these. One trains on my face, the other trains on your face. And when I have to replace your face, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use your encoder and encode it into a latent view, but I'll use the decoder from my training set. So when it decodes into my image. So I can transform your image into mine, and then comes the GAN. So GAN is basically, think of like, uh, I mean, there is a old term, right? Cat and mouse, right? Which is very much used in cybersecurity that you keep chasing. So GAN is again two sets of model. And basically what happens is these two sets of model, or think of like two players playing chess. So they're trying to beat each other, come up with new strategies and improve the image over and over and over and over and again. So ultimately it becomes very realistic.
All right, that makes sense. I'm still a little fuzzy, honestly, on how AI is managing to do this with the
Hmm.
transformers, but I don't think we're going to be able to completely solve that or answer all of my questions on this short little podcast. That seems like a pretty deep area of expertise. How long have you been interested in this? How long have you been studying this particular
Oh,
space?
well, AI for AI and machine learning since my undergrad days. So it's been about 8 or 9 years now. Yeah.
Right on, man. So that you definitely have a basis of knowledge that I think a lot of people out here want to get to, but it took you 9 years to get there. So a lot to explore. Maybe we can break this down or maybe bring it up a level. Can you talk
Hmm.
about like some of the common scams that are happening out there? Like, what does this actually look like in the wild?
Absolutely. So there are smaller scams, then there are larger scams, and there are national level parties getting involved in trying to attack each other. So we'll probably start with the smaller example. So there has been a recent case where an Oxford professor, they thought they have an online girlfriend, and they got scammed because initially they did not believe that the person was trying to scam them. So they actually asked them for a video proof, and the person sent them a video proof, and they ended up sending a huge sum of money to this person because they believed that video. We can move to a bit more bigger level. There's a UK based company again, a software firm, and they have an office in Singapore. This was very famous because what happened was they got called from the uh, chief executives. They were invited into a meeting, and everyone there was fake, and they were asked to send them wire transfer of money. And because the person knew the face of the chief executive, they ended up doing a wire transfer. And at national level, what has happened is DOJ found out that the Russian government is running a program called Doppelganger. Okay, and what it does is basically create fake media on different websites to create and change the perception, which is just crazy.
That's mad. That's
Yeah,
how do we even go about guarding against that? If I get called into a meeting with my CEO and he
yeah,
says, I need um, Xbox gift cards, obviously something's wrong. That's a scam.
yeah.
Versus like, all right, I work in finance. Let's initiate a bank transfer because we're going to purchase this thing. We've decided it's all signed off on. You don't need to see the paperwork right now. Just start the transfer while the paperwork's all drying. Like, how do we guard against something like that?
So I mean that's why I'm talking about it. So there are multiple ways to do this. Uh, Majority of them are right now in research. Few of them are being used. For example, the coolest one that I think, but I don't think it works that well, is your physiological signs. So, for example, right now when I'm talking to you, I can see that your skin color would be not same throughout your face. Uh, Wherever the blood flows, you'll have that blood flow redness on your face or things like that. So that's one way, but ultimately when the deepfake gets there, it's gonna be able to beat these guard mechanisms which the other systems are going to look for. Similarly, people are using iris as a way of detection, but ultimately I feel at some point these deep fake models are gonna get there where they'll be able to replicate your iris as well. There are other mechanisms where people look at basically every image is like a 2D, it can be represented in a 2D array, right? Red, blue, green, RBG, right? So what researchers have found out is that when you convert these colors into a frequency domain, you would be able to see a specific fingerprinting pattern. So these are specific to the model because you're trying to kind of fingerprint the model itself. So again, it becomes a cat and mouse game. you keep releasing new models, you'll have to keep releasing new fingerprints. Uh, so those two, and then there is a third one where you can look at the temporal way of doing this, which is basically frame by frame. As the time goes by, you could look at inconsistencies in the motion, which is also dependent on the fact that models are not that great today, but eventually they will improve. So ultimately, I think the last one, which I feel would be the go-to solution for the industry and everyone to adopt, would be to rely on PKI. We have used PKI for a long while. I know, I mean, there has been issues with it. There's no denying that. But ultimately, we are at a place where we can still have a good amount of trust in it. So ultimately, I think what will happen is you will have to use a PKI-based solution. And a lot of these clients that sit on your phone, the websites, all these places will have to adopt this new PKI to be able to verify whether this is a real person or this is a fake one. And it
Now,
would need a whole collaboration between the industry people, the deepfake models that are generating images, all the content generation platforms which are creating images today will have to collaborate together and build this system out.
Now, it seems like there's already a set of people that are focused on identity out there and have
Hmm.
been like chasing down this. How do we prove I am me? Like the FIDO Alliance. So when you say PKI, are we talking pass keys, like the hardware module? Like I'm unlocking this stupid long key with my thumbprint, and like, uh, isn't that just like MFA though? Are we solving this? Do we need to solve visuals with MFA at this point?
Uh, well, I wouldn't say. I mean, like the passkeys and all those things would be like you're trying to authenticate to someone, as you said, identity, right? Uh, Maybe that's something of a solution as well, where you approve anything that is uploaded to the web with a passkey saying that, oh, it is me, you can go ahead and use it. Otherwise, this is not me. So that's a good point to say that we can report things if you want, saying that, oh, this is my passkey. I am not this person and I want to report this content. But there are other ways to do it. For example, steganography has existed for a long while, which basically means to add uh, things into your image. I can add a sentence into my image. It will be encoded into those bits of the image. And the client side can extract these and get the value. So you can think of a simple one, which would be just like a password, probably similar to a password, or it could be cryptographically encrypted. And then you can have the client side take that out and verify via the PKI infrastructure. But I mean, the reason why we want to probably move this side is because it's 100% secure. All the other ones, they have a probability of failing in able to identify the deepfakes.
Well, in a world where we are very distributed,
Hmm.
especially post COVID, like in a pre COVID world, it, even with distributed teams, like it seemed to make more sense that, hey, we could meet in person. Like we need to verify you, come into the office and let's do that. But now with globally distributed teams, I mean, we hear so many stories of like fake employees out of North Korea. And
Hmm.
I'm sure that plays into all this as well. It just seems that we're going to need solutions faster than we're currently delivering them. Like how can we encourage the greater community? What's the conversation you want to encourage out there? Like someone sitting at home saying, "All right, I am worried about deep fakes. I want to talk to my security team right now. How can we go from I don't know to I am sure this is the person I'm talking to?"
Sure. So there are a lot of already like Microsoft has their service, which basically is able to identify whether this is a deep fake or not. So people should start onboarding these services. And we are still at a stage, we'll need a better solution for sure, but we are still at a stage where if you pay close attention, you'll be able to figure out whether it is a deep fake. So for example, the easiest one is where the face meets the background, right? You'll see some kind of dismerge there. It won't be properly aligned. So you can still figure it out, and you should definitely not trust on manual processes just, but also deploy automated tools. Example, the Microsoft tool that I just mentioned. Yeah.
Right on, man. Well, thanks for being here and being so willing to share your knowledge about deepfakes. This is a lot more we could dig into, especially on the AI side and
Hmm.
on technical. But I think we got a pretty good high level and a good suggestion on what to do next. So let's move on to the getting to know you section. The same questions we ask all of our guests is the standard way we format this show. The first is, what's your all-time favorite security command line tool?
I would say HTTPX because it lets you get to know your target, especially for web security. You get to know your target better. Oh, you can run scans, right? You can also get the titles of the web pages, which lets you build a set of domains, subdomains that you want to attack. Like choose the favorite ones. Like if I see one which says that, oh, this is a secret site. I mean, that's a very bad example, but this is a secret site. Then I would try to first dig in there because mostly the biggest bounty would come from there.
Right on, man. Next up, you've had numerous jobs that we read part of your bio at the beginning. What's your favorite interview question that you've ever been asked?
So I'm more into network security. So I mean, I do web security just for fun. But I would say the favorite question is how would you exfiltrate an information from a company without the company realizing it? And the answer to that question is you can put information in the DNS queries, like just instead of the domain name, you put bits and bits of information slowly to extract that information. And most of these firewalls allow your outgoing DNS queries because they think, oh, this one is safe because it is needed for you to be able to access the internet.
Yeah, sneaking text through DNS. I think it's getting harder to do that because so
Hmm.
many people know that that is just an easy way to do it. That
Yeah,
I saw a talk at another B sides where it's like, if you're not checking the DNS request for text, like the format of text, like why on earth would you ever send text? Why would you send text that's more than like 12, 20 characters long? Like something's wrong. Block that stuff. So I think that's going to be
absolutely.
harder.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Best advice, worst advice. This is everybody's favorite part of the show. What is
Uh-huh.
the best security advice you're hearing out there or you've ever heard?
Well, right now, people are focusing more on automation. So as we move forward, there will be, I mean, there's already AI protecting AI. So people knowing how to, what are these security loopholes, uh, apart from the normal OWASP, there would be specific ones which can impact AI. So knowing that would be really helpful for people moving forward. Yeah.
And what's the absolute worst advice for security you've ever heard in your life?
Well, the worst advice is that you don't learn about security. I think everyone should learn about security, even if it's not your domain. Some basic understanding, some basic knowledge is always going to be helpful, whether you are a software engineer, you're a data analyst, or anyone. So some basic understanding of security is needed for everyone to be safe in the world where everything is on the internet.
I kind of love asking people the worst advice because it turns
Yeah.
always into good advice, and it's like the thing that really that's what you're worried about. And I
I
appreciate
see. Okay.
your point of view on that.
Okay.
And again, the audience generally likes that. So thanks everybody out there for listening to us as we go through this. Well, we're here at the end of the show, and we always like to turn it over to our guests to have the final say. If there's anything you want to plug, if there's anything you want us to know, if there's anything you just want to generally get off your chest about security, this is your chance. The floor is yours.
Absolutely. Thank you. So, well, we are at a point where we are transitioning into the AI world where everything, people are going mad about AI agents. So it seems like we are about time to have collaboration out there in the public community to come up with ideas to be able to safeguard against these new threats. And that's what my talk at B-Side San Diego was, Deepfake, cybersecurity's new villain. So we have all these new villains coming up, and we need all to collaborate to create solutions that could be very well adopted, and we can ultimately protect ourselves better.
Love it, man. That's a great place to leave it. Again, we're going to encourage everybody out there, if you have not been to a B-Sides yet, go find your local B-Sides community or any security community locally so you can have these conversations in person and meet awesome people like our guest today. So thanks very much for being here. And again, remember, like, subscribe, share this with your friends. It does help us out. And thanks again for being here, Sankalp.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah.